Hey guys, Dante here, and welcome back to my channel, The Burgos Art, and welcome back to another day of Inktober streaming. So, today is not the 5th, it is the 6th of October, and today's prompt is Rodent. So for today I actually have a little bit of a reference next to me, just to make sure I got all the things I want to do. I had different ideas for today. One idea was in fact to kind of recreate that scene from Secret of Nim, the animated movie Secret of Nim, where the rat is reaching out the cage and opening up the lever, and the lever says, "To unlock cage, lift lever," which is kind of ominous in its own right when the rodents reach the higher intelligence. But I decided not to go with that. I decided to do something a bit more funny. So bear with me as I just pull up some reference right now. All right. So why not we start off with the obvious. Let's get a rat. Let's do a cute little rat. Rats can be cute. I don't want to do like a typical like creepy Halloween rat, you know, all ugly and snarling at the camera and whatnot. And I want to do this. It's a rat, just a simple rat looking forward. However, I am fully aware that there are some people who are terrified of rats. I actually have a very close family member of mine, a very close friend of the family, who is like it borderlines like on a phobia. Like he will not go near anything that's mouse-like or rat-like, and it must extend to like some old family trauma or something he had. I don't know. I never made fun of him for it, you know, to each their own. But it was always interesting. This man would fight a lion barehanded. But the moment a little mouse ran across him, he would like freak out. If I was more of a what's the word I'm thinking of? Not Playboy artist, but just, you know, pretty girl artist. I can't think of the word right now. I'm an idiot. But if I was someone who drew pinup, there we go. If I was someone who drew pinups, I'd probably be doing the typical woman on top of the stool, her skirt slightly lifted up. Oh no, a mouse. I'd probably end up doing something like that. But we're not doing that right now. To be honest, I think most rodents are kind of cute when they want to be. There's only one rodent who, in my opinion, can never look cute, and that's the freaking the possum or the opossum. Yeah, those guys can go to hell. I don't. Yeah, that's they no fun. They no fun at all. So we got our basic rat. I'll do the whiskers afterwards. Let me switch over back to Twitch on my second device. Alright, no one's in the chat just yet. Okay then. Okay, so what's this rat doing? What is he up to? It's a very special rat. In fact, and why is this rat so special? Because he's highly educated. He is a highly educated rat. So, kind of piggybacking from the theme yesterday, he is one of the men in charge of Section 37 of our little lab experiment group. He's one of the head honchos who makes sure everything goes smoothly. We are, in fact, putting the rat in a suit. Well, not even a suit. He is going to be wearing a very spiffy lab coat. He's a respectable member of his field. Always gets his paperwork done on time. I want to make sure I got the the really square, ironed out, clean cut shape of lab coat. Like that's why I had to look up the reference for it. I didn't want to screw that up. Paging Dr. Vermin. Paging Dr. Vermin. I believe there was way back when, man, was it 90s or early 2000s? I want to say maybe late 90s, early 2000s. There was a Spider-Man show where he travels into, well, it's not the future. He actually ends up in like a parallel universe kind of thing. But it was kind of banking off of the sci-fi aesthetic from the actual like futuristic Spider-Man in the comics. And the reason I bring it up is because there was a woman in it named Lady Vermin. She was one of the mutants, and not an X-Men mutant. She was like a member of a big species of creatures that kind of dominated the planet, or dominated New York, I guess. And she was part of these enforcers who were meant to like keep the humans in check. Kind of like a Planet of the Apes kind of feel, if you want to go with that analogy. But since like no one really knew what Spider-Man was, you have this guy with like animal-like abilities, but he's not part of the animal people. What is he? Who is he? And Lady Vermin had a thing for Spider-Man, and that was funny. Like she wanted to get all up inside that spider costume. Hey JT Marvel, hey Orc Punch. Yeah, sorry. So on my second device, I'm switching between my reference image and my actual Twitch account. So I see you guys. Don't get your panties in a twist. I see you guys. That was it. Spider-Man Unlimited. That was it. Lady Vermin. That show was interesting. Like it had potential, because it was like it was meant to be a parallel universe, but I don't feel they ever actually upright said it in the series, which is what made it kind of confusing. But yeah, Lady Vermin. I think it was like Sir Ram, who was like the mad scientist, who actually became a bit of a really bit of a bad guy later on. They also weren't really like clear on the full state of the world. Like, you know, New York City, everyone was turned into animals. Not turned. All the animals were turned into people. Like, you know, the people were pushed underground. But they never like really explained if that was what was going on in the whole world. Like, I just felt like the show had potential, and it really leaned heavily into comic. And what I mean is, like, it had the black inking, it had like the comic panels with the downtown of New York. I noticed in the chat, JT Marvel says they took the high evolutionary away from Thor, or rather they used that villain. But then again, you know, Spider-Man, I mean, he fought the Kingpin a few times, but the Kingpin wasn't really his main character. And these villains get around, man. They get around. The sad thing is that there were a lot of open-ended storylines, such as what was his name? J. Jonah Jameson's son. Not his son. Sorry. So you had the J. Jonah Jameson, who in the comic was a werewolf, and they kind of leaned that into this series without really explaining it as well, if I can remember. I think he was just meant to be an experiment that went wrong. But they had this cool idea of someone using the Green Goblin mantle, and like it's hinted that he's like deformed because like he has green skin beneath the green costume, and they hint also that the house Spider-Man's living in, or Peter Parker's living in, is his ex-wife's house, like that character's wife, and like they never really explained his deal. He was a good guy with this crazy like sci-fi looking Green Goblin bat costume. I really like the idea. It just, I don't know, I just feel like they didn't get a chance to do much with it. Alright, so here's the issue. I'm gonna have him holding something in his right hand, but it's hard to pose my right hand because I'm using my right hand. So we're gonna figure this out. Let's okay, so he's holding a pencil. He's like discussing the future of the agency. So let's give him some big nasty like rat knuckles. There we go. Actually, let's make this the. I screwed up on the. I really screwed up on the hand, so let's make this. His middle finger. Tuck that in a bit. There we go. And then he's holding it. He's like, hey. Okay. Let me jump back. See what's going on in the chat. Let me see the door. To be fair, Kingpin was originally a Spider-Man villain. Okay, fine. You can't argue comic book history with JT Marvel, man. Good luck with that. but yeah, but still, you get the idea. I'm saying, like, you know, you could still bounce characters back and forth. All right, so once again, I'm going to do the lab coat. Going to, there we go. Once again, the more angular wrinkles he has in the lab coat, want to try and make sure I copy that as well as possible. But what he really needs, right there, because he's a professional, come on people, what he really needs is, of course, his name tag. Because, you know, you have to get around the lab somehow. There's a little barcode on it. And just because he's a rat, he's a rat, he's a rat, who needs a tail? Let's imagine that tail turning this way. Now the question is he like a really sophisticated rat? Like, good gentlemen, Subject 47 is doing very well. Or does he have the voice of Rat Trap from like Beast Wars? Yeah, how's it going? We're all gonna die. I expected better from you, gentlemen. I'm actually really happy with this. Alright, let's do some shading. Let's do the light coming this way. So, we'll use our art reference as much as possible to make sure the shading comes out good. And the real question is, how do I do cross-hatching in the hair and the fur? Like, how do I get his fur to look right without it just being a complete mess? How, you ask? I asked that question too. We will figure that out together. cool. So I'm right now using the 0.5 to get those fine lines. She fine? Sorry, that was a weird callback to an old comedian. The joke was that all rap songs from a certain era have like the same setup where, you know, it's just the lyrics interrupted by a guy screaming, "She fine!" I'll let you guys decide how accurate that is. Isn't it wonderful when you have actual art reference to help you figure out where everything sits? All artists use art reference at some point, people. Even like the supposed like best artists in the world, everyone needs to use an art reference. Don't let anyone tell you differently. You have to make sure the anatomy is correct, and the more you do it, the more often you do it, the more often you use the reference, the more it sticks with you, and then you use less reference. But you always need reference for something. Maybe it's a pose, maybe it's, well, in this case, you know, where all the shadows are sitting on this character. Or the fact I don't actually know what a rat tail looks like. There we go. Let's see, back to the chat for a minute. Nothing new. I take that back. I think there is some new stuff. I just am having trouble seeing it. I think when I log in and out from the page, it's not showing me all the new chat for some reason. In the chat box on screen, I see it, but in the chat on my actual device, I don't seem to be up to date. Okay, so I don't want to lose anyone in the chat, so I'm just going to stay within this page for now. Let me see. I'm not going to go crazy with the rat shading right now, but I will do a few of these just to kind of give the idea of scuffs and fur. Like I said, I don't want to lose Don't want to lose the little fur details within the rat. Alright. Switching over to 0.8, and we're going to do some thickening. The plot and the lines thicken. One of my favorite things to do, or rather one of my favorite jokes, is just when something gets really bad, like you're watching a story, and just you just yell out, "The plot thins!" Because sometimes that happens. You're watching a show and you're like, "Wow, that could have gone a lot better." Yeah, the issue once again with using, so I have my phone as a camera. I only got one secondary device to help me look up reference, and as soon as I log out, leave the chat on that device, suddenly I'm out the loop. It's as if I missed something in the chat, and first world problems, as they say, first world problems. So, exactly, like what plot? So, as I mentioned in a previous stream, I don't want my streams to become political, and I do not want them to become political. But I will talk about funny stuff that's political related. And so SNL just reopened, as it were. And I saw on YouTube their their cold opening when they do that joke at the very beginning, and I was actually extremely excited because freaking Jim Carrey was there as Biden, and that was hysterical. Just simply because he played Biden the way he did in the movie, I think it's called Me, Myself, and Irene, or Me, Myself, and I. Essentially, he played Biden as this man desperately trying to hold in this inner rage and trying not to get down to Trump's level. And just watching Jim Carrey in general play someone trying to play it cool is so freaking funny. And I'm happy to say they also poked fun of the moderator for essentially not doing his job and how useless he was in the entire thing. So it was just fun to see Jim Carrey again. So that's as much politics as I will allow here in my on my streams. Just looking at the sillier moments of what they give us, and then of course it ends with the whole live from New York, Saturday Night Live. And that it was just nice. It was just nice to see the Carry back in form. Okay, so he's gonna have something he shouldn't have in his pocket. He has a scalpel. He shouldn't have a scalpel in his pocket. That's actually a really poor idea, especially pointing upward. But he has to be ready. He has to go. He has to be ready to go at a moment's notice. after I do this artwork, I'm gonna go back to my laptop and finish a project I'm doing for someone else, and send that out, and then I'll go to my desktop where all of these files are being saved, and I'll probably start already posting them on YouTube. And you know what? There's not much to really cut out in terms of fat. I might just post them because they're not really speed drawings. That like Inktober is its own category on my channel, separate from my speed drawing stuff. My speed drawing is me actually fast forwarding through like projects and everything. So I'll just probably upload it as is with just a little like end credit and a intro and end credit. I'm really happy. That reference, oh god, that reference came in hand. Let me just add a bit more of a, not too much, just a little bit of a dark line on this side, a little bit of dark line here and there. So I believe I mentioned to the orc. I think I mentioned it to him. Essentially, there was this game that came out a while back, a few years back, done by like one guy, and it was called Papers, Please. And it actually got pretty popular. And I remember playing the demo for it, and I just re-downloaded the demo because I want to give it another shot. Papers, Please is really interesting because they find a way to make the mundane act of literally checking people's papers at a border really interesting and stressful, especially for someone like me who is dyslexic and I'm just like desperately trying to read everyone's paperwork quickly. It's like mixing survival, like it's kind of like a survival game in a way, similar in the way of like Oregon Trail. You have to make sure everything's like up to date. You have to make sure everything's correct. Because if you don't do it, you don't get paid. And if you don't get paid, the family don't get fed. But it's actually really interesting. It's actually a really fun game. So I'm going to play the demo. And I don't know if I really like it. Maybe I'll buy it off of Steam. Because I believe the guy has also created other games, like other new games as well. But once again, like I think it's just one guy. I think he has someone help him with the music though. But it is pretty much just one guy making like these games all by himself, and it's just really interesting the way he did it. It's all pixel art, and you're just literally checking papers at a border, but you have things you gotta do like you have to let in these many people, but not let in criminals, and of course criminals show up, and you gotta find a way to stop them, even though they have the correct paperwork. It's a bit of a puzzle game as well. It's fun. Hello, Kitty. Good to see you. I want to have him saying something, but like a symbol. Should I go cheesy, quite literally, and he just has a little thing of cheese like above him? Oh man, I'm trying to think about what I want him to say. Yeah, I kind of lost the the sleeve here. It's like the sleeve is rolled back way far, and just exposing all this hairy area. Well, nothing horrible. Still works for me. He has to sound really intelligent when he says that. I nice deep voice. Or everyone, like he walks. It's like he's walking into the lunchroom. Or everyone, back to the rat races. Come on now, Janet. I want to see those papers by 4 o'clock. like, like he's like really respectable. You know what? Uh, we're gonna have him. He is talking about science. Weird science. I think we did that gag already. Master Splinter MD. In fact, yeah, just the freaking from like the old '80s cartoon, just like that Master Splinter voice as like a doctor. Kitty D and Orc Punch, are you guys still tumbling around in freaking Dark Souls? This should be like a game mode. No, like a challenge mode where you fight, where two people fight, and like the first person to freaking tumble gets disqualified. There we go. Science! Inktober 2020. We are in the 6th day, and it is rodent, not rat, rodent. Could have done hamsters if I wanted to. All right. Now this is good. When I get a chance to use reference, I find that my skill set goes much higher, and I did this. I don't know. This makes me chuckle. I'm happy with this. It makes me chuckle. So yes, as always, guys, check out the media links on the right. It's Twitter, Instagram, and DeviantArt, where you can see the still images of these. I just take a photograph, really. I should scan them, but I just take a photograph. Check out those. And as I mentioned earlier, I will be probably uploading some of these videos over onto YouTube before Twitch tries to delete them. So anyway, once again, I am Dante. Like, favorite, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the future. Later.